Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we'll be giving you the coverage of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Production. So far, we've been watching the incredible journey of heading through the chase. 5 races to figure out who will become the champion of this first season. 2 races in Vincent Sora still holding the top spot in the points, with Larry Yingling going to be the driver who's second behind him. Tonight, it's going to be a true test. We've had the wild card of Talladega, the consistency of Charlotte. Now it's time for another wild card as we test out the RVA 200 at Richmond Raceway. It's another short track, our second of the season. Our first one at Iowa did not go as planned, and drivers are hoping with the first short track being early in the season, the last one being later on in the season, that maybe you would change things up. But Zach, all the worry in the garage has been saying this track could be a disaster.
It could be very wild for sure. I mean, we see it right now. It's under the daylight. Normally these Richmond races, they play out under the night lights, and usually these Richmond races that are in the daytime have so much more low grip. And I tell you, there's been smoke, there's been chaos, there's been multiple wrecks in this practice section. So I'm interested to see when we drop the green flag. Is it just people testing the limits here in practice, or is the car really that big of a handful? So it's going to be really fun to watch for us up here in the booth, and I'm sure these drivers are going to figure things out as you see Jackson Anderson going around.
Anderson trying to test things out. A couple of drivers testing bump and run, seeing if that still works. You're also seeing drivers seeing how much damage they can collect and how much repairs it will take, because tonight could be a demolition derby at moments. Drivers, it's difficult at times when there's a wreck around you here at Richmond to find ways to avoid from being involved with it. And Zach, that could be a factor as drivers are having their fun here late in practice. Just the fact of how do you avoid wrecks when it could be a full track blockage at times when the field's completely together on restarts.
A lot of times it's luck, it's just choosing the right lane at the right time. And it can always be a occur where you do get slowed down, you get checked up, but it's the people behind you that don't, and you get piled into that wreck by the driver from behind. So sometimes it's out of your control, but the best thing to do is to get these things slowed down as best you can. Try to keep as much grip underneath you when you are getting slowed down, so you can make quick movements either left or right to go around. On the front straightaway, it's very wide, but on that back straightaway, if something happens going off into 3, off of 2, it kind of clogs up pretty quickly, even though it's a pretty wide short track.
And a couple of drivers of note to watch out for here tonight. Obviously, Vincent Sora entering tonight with a 14-point advantage over Larry Yingling. Yingling needs a strong performance here tonight. And honestly, the whole entire chase drivers, all 16 of them, really need Vincent Sora to falter here this evening to make it a little bit more of a raceable scenario. But Zach, when we think about Vincent Sora, there's a couple of tracks you can kind of bring up. You're like, okay, this is an absolute. He's going to perform there. I think of Homestead, Miami, which is a track where we've seen him dominate in other leagues and series. And then Richmond. This is a terrifying track, I think, for a lot of drivers that felt like last week should have been the race that kind of pushed Vincent Sora back, but he found himself in victory lane. How do you stop a guy that's got multiple tracks ahead of him where he's been so strong at?
It's going to be tough. Like you said, the whole field just needs him to at least have some type of bad luck or something falter for him, because he's just been unstoppable when it comes to pace. His long run has been probably the best of anybody almost every single week. I mean, we've seen a few times a few guys have challenged him where it's kind of caught him off guard, but most of this, I'd say 70% to 80% of the races, he has been that car to beat. And I think tonight, like Homestead, like you said, this is his stomping ground. He loves this place. It is probably his best short track, and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the top of the leaderboard here tonight. But again, short track racing, we've seen how wild this practice session has been, Sam. Anything could happen, and if he's in the wrong situation at the wrong time, it could be hurting him points wise here tonight to get involved in something.
It certainly can be, though. Now, like I said, this is going to be our second short track of the season. Our first one was all the way back at the beginning of the season at race number 4 at Iowa, and we got to see Vincent Sora taking victory that night. He was challenged by Danny Cochran, Cedric Hunter, and Larry Yingling that are going to have to challenge him here this tonight. But if you look at some other drivers that ran pretty well during that Iowa race, a few notes to watch out for. It is going to be most likely Thomas Green in the 3 machine. He's currently 4th fastest in practice, as well as Jared Talmadge, 2nd fastest on the board currently here during practice. And Zach, Jared Talmadge, what a season he's had. It's just so unfortunate he's had 2 bad weeks in a row.
Exactly. It really did not help him to start the chase with that terrible race at Talladega with the connection issues. That really took him out of contention and didn't gain nothing the next week. So we'll have to see if Richmond is the place to do it, but qualifying can be important, and we have just entered that now as these drivers got 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap. And I tell you what, this is going to be interesting to watch because it is very much a low grip surface when it's daytime. These drivers are going to be on edge for these laps.
They certainly are. I'm curious if we can pull up also the weather to take a look at what these drivers are handling for qualifying. Air temperature being 77 degrees. Track temp is at a 93 degree Fahrenheit temperature. A little bit of wind that they're dealing with from the east. Humidity's not too bad, but there's that in-sim time. It's 4:16 p.m. Chance of this track heating up just slightly more as this race progresses, and then it will cool off in those later laps. But this is going to be an interesting run. How well does Vincent Sora want to qualify? He is one of 8 drivers to take the pole award here this season. Can he grab his 3rd pole? We'll find out here very shortly, as all drivers during this 5-minute period have 2 laps to put down their fastest time. Expected is the 2nd lap to be the faster lap for all drivers. Some have found it to be the 1st lap. We'll see who can find that good speed. Currently, it's Ali Fonseca with the top pole time as Vincent Sora crosses the line for the 15. His 1st lap was invalidated. His 2nd lap is not any better. The 15 is currently 10th on the board and dropping quickly. It's Cody Reed with the pole time.
That's exactly what everybody needed for when it came to points. We'll have to see Vincent Sora climb through the field with no decent time being able to put in, but Cody Reed, like you said, to the top of the board, that is a surprise there. But I tell you what, he needs this. He's been on a string of bad luck, and it would be good to see Cody come out here and sit on pole position. We'll see if anybody can take it away from him, but right now he's still got about 300 to the next driver, so a good sizable margin still.
We've had 8 different pole setters, 6 different winners, and one of only 2 drivers to find themselves in victory lane twice or more this season. It was that 08 machine of Jackson Anderson, that 08 looking good in 8th place, but obviously you'd hope for better speed. Talking about speed, Ryan Kelly out of nowhere finding the speed for the 30 machine as he finds himself with a 22.311 time. Over a half of a 10th faster. Jared Talmadge says, no, I'll go even faster than that. A 22.2 by the 27 of Talmadge. And again, that was one of the drivers we had circled up of has to be the one that can contend with Vincent Sora and Talmadge doing exactly what he needs to do. But here's a driver that we know can steal the show. He was quick during practice. He needs to find some good pace right now. It's Thomas Green, one of the final drivers trying to put in the qualifying time. Noah Steele going to be cracking into the top 5 in 5th place for the 8 machine. Thomas Green, though, it looks like taking a little bit more of a setup time. He's going to be taking it on the outside, hoping to find some more speed for himself. It's a 23.0 for the 3. He'll qualify 25th currently. Zach, he needs some more pace for the 3. That is not a good qualifying time for Thomas Green. He's hoping this 2nd lap is where the pace is at for himself.
He's really hoping that for sure, and it seems like most drivers have found sometimes their fast lap on the 1st, so I'm interested to see if he finds anything more, but just a big slide there off the exit, and will find a lot more time. Not enough to top Jared Talmadge's lap, but will go up the 2nd on the board. So big slide, taking him all the way through the top of the board almost.
And it's going to be seeing the 27 of Jared Talmadge taking a pole for himself. And this 27 has been doing it all season long. His 5th pole of the season goes for Jared Talmadge. Congratulations on grabbing your Blazing Fast TV pole award for the 5th time. As now we move from our qualifying here within a minute to our warm-ups, where drivers will have a 5-minute period, kind of get their last-minute setups in for how they want to attack this track. As well, will give us time to take a closer look of this season. But Zach, this is exactly what this league needed to kind of spice things up in a way for the points. Vincent Sora, he's all the way down in 29th place to start this race off.
Yeah, I mean, that is a huge shakeup. I mean, if he's got a long way to go through the field, of course, but he's got to be smart, Sam. I think it's going to be the biggest thing is being smart. You cannot go out there if you're Vincent Sora and just try to bully your way through this field. I think if he just slowly picks them off one at a time, I mean, there's again no stage points here at Trinity. There's no reason to rush. You got plenty of laps here. Even if he gets a top 5 or a top 10 out of this race, it is still a win in my book for him.
All the drivers now wait as we are about to move into that warm-up period. Again, we want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us here on your Monday evening to watch the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production. You're watching the Season 1 Chase, race number 3 out of 5 in our Chase format for the RVA 200 at Richmond. Cannot wait to see how this race ramps up, but let's first take a closer look at how this season and where we are in the chase so far, points-wise. Talked about it, the fact that Vincent Sora, top of the board. Jared Talmadge is doing everything in his power to close in on this gap. He was one of the biggest movers on points after last week's race at Charlotte. Up 6 positions, now in 4th is Jared Talmadge. But if you look at some of the other drivers that are inside of our top 3, Larry Yingling, Joshua Stovall, just trying to be consistent, the best that they can to try to dwindle down this points gap that they have to Vincent Sora. But Zach, it's 14 points between 1st and 2nd, and it just balloons out the deeper you look throughout these top 16.
It really does. Vincent Sora has started off so well to, this chase, and so the guys have had some troubles. So it's really opened up that gap. They're going to have to dig back into that here tonight. I mean, Vincent Sora, of course, starting farther back, but we got some drivers that are going to be looking to take advantage of that for sure. I mean, even Larry Yingling, not the greatest qualifying for him, so he's going to be having to come back through. But you look at Cody Reed, great qualifying for him. He's back at 16th in points. He can make a big dent into those points possibly and at least gain a few spots to try to maybe make an effort to get top 10 in points.
So other drivers of note inside of the top 10 of points so far. Nolan Hicks doing a great job in 7th. Noah Steele in 6th. Trying to have more consistent runs for themselves. The man who's been the consistent one, Stephen Clapp, all the way down to 11th. We'll see what he can steal away here tonight, because Richmond expected to be a tough race, but as we move from our points, take a look at our schedule. We've only got ourselves 2 more races after tonight. We've got our tonight here at Richmond Auto Club, Las Vegas. 2 tracks ahead of us, known for draft being important. I'm curious for Las Vegas on how impactful we're going to be seeing a lot of pack racing like we see in other vehicles at that course, or will it be strung out? But Auto Club, we know there's a chance of a lot of chaos just with the pack racing and everyone on top of one another.
Oh, it's going to be chaos for sure all the way down to the end. I mean, of course, tonight, Richmond, short track racing. Then you got the 2-miler there at the Auto Club Speedway, one of the greatest tracks, that's ever been in NASCAR. So that will be, I'm sure, a show to watch with these Xfinity cars that have put on such a good racing at that style of track. So I'm interested to see how Auto Club is. Then, of course, Las Vegas to close it out. I mean, another great intermediate, and it's going to be a classic one, I can say that. And what a great inaugural season for these guys here at Trinity.
I know a lot of the drivers this season has been a lot of ups and downs, just learning the vehicle, and we're so happy to see the growth of the league has had of drivers sticking around even through the tough beginning parts of this season to now where we're at. We're so close to crowning that first champion. And entering tonight, there's a lot of different drivers to look out for. But like we kind of noted on, there's kind of a favorite that we know to watch out for. We made our drivers' picks before practice was over, before even qualifying happened. So maybe we would have changed up our picks. But we all went with a lot of similar ones, at least Zach and I did. Vincent Sora, the driver of note to watch out for. Zach, I mean, we've seen him dominate here at this track. I'm not surprised he's our pick, but I'm excited to see what the 15 has this evening.
Yeah, our pick has got an uphill battle right now for sure, but I still believe in the 15. I've seen him. I've raced him here. He is spectacular at this racetrack, so the kid, I think, is going to be one really pushing for that win.
And then Robert Moyer Jr., our producer in the background, his pick, Noah Steele. Not a pick that you would normally think, but this 8 machine has been finding some good pace, been sticking around the top 10, top 5 for a majority of these races this season. And if he can keep that nose clean, watch out, this 8 machine could maybe shock us as he qualified 6th here tonight. And can he keep that position, or will he advance forward? We're hoping he doesn't go backwards.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how all these drivers battle it out.
Excited for tonight. Again, thank you so much to everyone that's joining with us. I want to say thank you to some of our primary sponsors. Again, Larry Arts Production being the primary title sponsor of the inaugural season of the Trinity Racing League. Head on over to Larry Arts Production on YouTube and all other social media sites to check out some great comedy videos ranging from stop motion, vlogs, live streams, and food reviews, and so much more. Head on over to Larry Arts Production today to see what good laughs you can find. Also want to say thank you to Blazing Fast TV, our Pole Sitter Award. Head on over to Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube for chill and relaxing streams with Dakota Moniz. See his point of view during these races, as well as other races and video games he's willing to play. Don't forget to go hit him with a follow and a subscription and stay up to date to when he goes live and posts content. Again, that's Blazing Fast TV being your Blazing Fast TV Pole Award. Again, that is going to Jared Talmadge, 5th time this season that 27 has found the pole. Now, can he hold on to that top position, or will he be challenged here tonight? Because practice is over, qualifying is done, warm-ups are finished. All that's left is 200 laps here at Richmond to figure out who's going to be getting it done this evening. Are we closing in on the points gap on Vincent Sora, or does it continue to grow? Let's find out. Where drivers started out from our Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios starting grid. Taking the top spot here this evening with the Blazing Fast TV Pole Award, it's Jared Talmadge in the 27. To his outside, the 3 machine of Thomas Green. Looking good for himself. Behind them in row number 2 and 3rd position is the 30 of Ryan Kelly. Cody Reed, currently last of the 16 drivers that made the chase, but open for a little bit of a change-up here tonight. Now, he was dealing with a lot of force feedback issues on his steering wheel last week. We're hoping that's fixed for him to race here this evening. 5th, we find Chris Stitz. Noah Steele, Robert's pick, going to be starting in 6th position for the 8 machine. Joshua Stovall, the Brown crew, will start in the top 10 in 7th, with Nolan Hickson 8th. 9th is Ali Fonseca, and finishing out our top 10, it's the 49 of Ryan Bird.
Starting in 11th, it's going to be the 66 of Justin T. Campbell. Alongside him in 12th, it's the 98 of Isaac Shelley. Cedric Hunter in the 13. Here's going to start in the 13th position with the 10 of Ryan Farrar starting alongside him in 14th. 15th has been one of the hottest drivers in the series is the 08 of Jackson Anderson, with Aaron Kralik starting alongside him in 16th. Larry Yingling, second place man in points, going to start back here in 17th, with Ethan Delaire in the 22 starting in 18th. 19th is going to be the 99 of Michael Miller, and rounding out the top 20 with the L2 also is Mark Labertone in the 44.
Mark Labertone's L2, forcing him to start the end of the line as well. Will have to serve a drive-through penalty. In 21st, kind of shocking based off how he ran during practice. Joshua Kanata only able to qualify in 21st position. Austin Halsey will qualify in 22nd place, with Jesse Thornton qualifying in 23rd. Excited to see what 14 has here this evening, as he's missed out on the last couple of grids. Ethan Smith, also quick during practice, but didn't find the qualifying pace. He'll start in 24th, with Ben Keeney in 25th. Isaac Reimer down in 26th position. Mark Morales in the 9 machine back in 27th. 28th is Stephen Clapp, with Vincent Sora finishing out our 29 drivers that set a time. And in 30th, it's Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine. Thank you so much to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios for being our grid sponsor. Head on over to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram for your one-stop shop for custom full-color tattoos, stickers, paints, and more. Tonight's race here at Richmond is the RVA 200 at Richmond. 200 laps. We do have a halfway point bonus. Whoever is leading at the end of lap 100 will grab that 1 bonus point. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And the field up front, they're excited for this race to start. Those in the middle, maybe feeling a little bit chaotic. But Zach, in the early portions of this race, what are drivers looking for to set up for this long race ahead of us?
You know, they're really, I think, got to settle in here and know what the flow of the race is going to be. Is it going to be a race where it's a lot of stop and start with yellow flags involved, with incidents involved? That kind of changes how you drive. If it's going to be a little bit more laid back and we go a little bit green, you're going to want to conserve tires. So you're not going to want to go all out on these restarts. So it's going to be interesting to see how the flow of the race starts, and it's kind of hard to judge it when you're a driver. You just kind of got to go with what your feeling is, and we'll see who decides to save a little, who decides to go full bore, thinking that we might have a little bit of a chaotic start.
Everyone is stacked up side by side, waiting for the pace car to make that hard right-hander. It's left-hander. It's time for us to go crazy here tonight for the RVA 200 at Richmond Raceway. The drivers are set, and we are green with Jared Thomas Green, and the rest of the field roaring down into turn number 1. We look good for now for the 27 of Jared Thomas with an exit of turn number 2. Everyone better hold on. Those tires are cold, but it's Talmadge looking strong in the early going.
That he is. Great job getting control of that lead here, and you got Thomas Green, the big lunge off the exit of 4 on the top side, just couldn't get alongside. There's Ryan Kelly fighting on the bottom side in that 30, trying to go forward.
Trying to move forward as Mark Labertone, who just served his drive-through penalty, will be right next to our leader heading down into turn number 3. This will give a chance for Thomas Green to find an advantage over the 27, who didn't have the best entry point, but the 44 staying low, trying to get out of the way. They'll be 3 wide entering into turn number 1, now backing it down to just 2 wide. As up front, fastest lap, your hot lap designs fastest lap currently to Jared Talmadge in the 27, setting the tone early, but you can see the middle of the field. It's just a gaggle of cars that are still stuck side by side.
That they are, man. Oh, yellow flag is out.
And it's going to be seen Ali Fonseca in the 24 going around, bringing our first caution of the day. And this was just around the point where drivers were about to settle in with their tire temps, but not the case. 24 is going to get a little bit of assistance as we'll take a look at this replay. As drivers stack up on the entry of the corner, and the 24 gets a slight bump from the 49.
This is such a tough situation. You know, you got the 44 pulling up pit road. He's kind of holding the inside, letting everybody by, doing the best he can to hold down there, and it kind of caused a little bit of stack up where I think Noah Steele in the 8, who was ahead of Fonseca there, you know, he kind of checked up maybe a little earlier than even he would, and then of course Ryan Bird's right behind Fonseca when he checks up for the 8, and that's where you get the trickle down accordion effect, and unfortunately Fonseca was the one that went around. So early caution here, but a very simple mistake to be made.
And just seeing the difference of a driver trying to woe up, another one trying to hit their racing marks, and that's going to be the thing throughout tonight with everyone in the middle of this pack. Because so many drivers being so close on time, their braking points and charging points of where their aggression is at is so different for some drivers. So for some, their mindset is the early on entry of the corners where they find all their speed. Others, it's on the exit. And finding that balance, Zach, is obviously the hard part to find of when you're racing around other competition and other drivers have such a different mindset. It can trip you up like that, where drivers just are stacking into one another on entry.
It definitely can, especially when you have different agendas going on like that, for sure. And man, it's so tough to judge sometimes as a driver. And the biggest thing you can do is early in these races is give a little bit extra. But you know, you say that, then you give a little bit extra. The driver behind you maybe goes to the normal mark, you get ran over. So you got to push hard in these opening laps here, and sometimes those just simple fender benders like that can cause a huge stack up, and next thing you know, you got a driver going around. So we'll see how Fonseca can make it back from it. Doesn't seem like that car too hurt, so I think everybody here, no harm, no foul, should get back going. And also, Mark Labertone, I think he enjoyed that. He'll be back on the lead lap, of course.
Back on the lead lap, a little bit of fuel being picked up for Mark Morales as well as Stephen Klatt, as they both just topped off on fuel. Other drivers, biggest movers of those that are inside of our top 15, going to be up 5 spots, is Michael Miller, as the field goes into the choose here tonight. The choose line is that yellow line breaking off the racing surface to the apron on the front stretch. Drivers got to be careful. They've been warned, hey, if you touch the grass, that could give you an incident point. I know all drivers have a limit of 24 incident points. If you go over that limit, then you will be parked and disqualified from the race. So drivers have to keep to their P's and Q's and making sure they don't grab too many incident points or damage points throughout the night. As up front, Thomas Green, Jared Talmadge who takes the inside for this upcoming restart. As the rest of the field tries to close in on the gap, it's up front, 27 in the 3, entering the restart zone as we are back to green flag action. And Jared Talmadge, once again, a great launch for himself. And Thomas Green, he's going to be rewarded with his good launch to stay just the nose ahead. Keeping that quarter panel just ahead of the 30 machine of Brian Kelly that can't keep it side by side as they exit turn number 2.
Great start once again for Jared Talmadge, like you said, but man, Thomas Green is good looking feisty up front, and he's going to look here possibly to the inside, a little loose there off the exit of 4. Was trying to get everything out of those rear tires, and they just would not give it to him. So Green going to have that big moment, but it's a stack up from behind really Ryan Kelly on as this Cody Reed ripping the top side of that 80, as he's also got Nolan Hicks there, and also I believe either it's Chris Stitz there, who's the blinking car on the bottom side here.
It's a little sideways in the center of 3 and 4, still blinking, and that is going to be an issue with so many drivers around that around that 17 machine. This is a hazard, as the one is Stovall trying to get underneath Stitz to get by. Trying to follow in line with the 8 and Noah Steele. That's Robert Moyer's pick, our producer, picking the 8 machine of Steele and that yellow machine just ahead of the number 1 who we ride on board with. And Joshua Stovall, Zach, I mean, this is a driver that we've seen from the first moments that he hopped onto our view here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's been a fun driver to see him grow, as Steele with a little bit of a wiggle for the 8 machine. But the consistency has been the part that's really helped out this one to be 3rd in points so far in the chase.
It really has been consistent. It's been kind of a quiet, Norton for Stovall, it's very loud and, right in front of your face, and it's been kind of quiet for him in the chase, but he's just been consistently getting those finishes, and that's what's produced 3rd in points so far. So this man is having an excellent chase, and looking to continue that here tonight with a good start here in the 8th position, a run right behind this great battle with Steele and Chris Stitz.
Luckily for Stitz, that blinking issue has stalled out. It's no longer happening anymore as we fall back just outside of the top 10 and 11 places. The 08 of Jackson Anderson, the only other driver to have multiple. Oh, no, it's Steele with a big slide for the 8 machine right in front of this group. As those tires, we saw just a few laps prior to that incident, it was getting slightly irritated. The heat's building up, and Zach, this 8 machine's in trouble.
That was a big slide, and he's going to have to, like you said, catch that heat, because that is the number 1 enemy you face with tire wear here in iRacing, is not really the total wear of how much tread is being taken off, but that heat climbing each and every corner you make a mistake. So you got to really make sure you're driving great and almost even underdriving to get that temperature to cool back down and come back down to earth, because that's where you really start to get those terrible handling issues.
As we are on board with the pink Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter, who had a great run last week at Charlotte. Wasn't able to fully capitalize on a victory, but he'll take a top 3 after last week's running, as he is watching all the chaos ahead of him. And this is an awkward spot to be in. If you're watching, you're just in the middle of this train of drivers. They're 2x2 ahead of you, and you're kind of having to figure out which lane is moving forward. This 13 is not in a safe place currently.
No, not at all. Same for the 60-70 Yingling. And look, there's our points here. So 1 and 2 in points coming here tonight. Running back here 15th and 16th so far. And they're right here in the gaggle. And I mean, you got Michael Miller, the 99, the 98, Isaac Shelley, the 49, Ryan Bird. And there it is, contact right there. Oh, and Cedric Hunter.
Just guessing wrong after the overcorrection by the 49. And a little bit of extra damage given to the 49 and the 13 as our second caution of the day is thrown. He's not there, just drivers getting on top of one another, a slight contact in the bump, and away they go as Isaac Shelley and Ryan Bird get into one another. And I mean, that's such a tough spot for Cedric Hunter, because in his cockpit, he's probably seen all the facts of, all right, there's an opening to my outside, and might have been better just to stay where he was at instead.
Yeah, I think if we get a look at it, he might have even got a little bit of a hit from the 60-70 Yingling who was checking up even. I think that might have shot him out to the right and kind of just put him in the worst possible situation, like you said, and unfortunately caused some damage. But I think that both him and Ryan Bird should be able to get those cars worked on and hopefully find some pace back in those cars, but it's going to be, of course, at the loss of their track position.
And with 19 laps into this race, 2 cautions. Curious of who's going to take the option of coming into pit road. Drivers do have 4 extra sets of tires to work with, so majority are expected to try to push those tires out to maybe 40 to 50 laps into this run, but we'll see who can maybe change things up that can help them moving forward. And Jackson Anderson in the 08, who we were going to talk about before we saw a lot of that chaos rumbling up. He will be the first driver to take a set of tires here tonight. as well. Looks to be Ali Fonseca getting some damage repair, Ryan Bird getting damage repair, and Cedric Hunter, who we just followed, headed into pit road to get damage repaired for themselves. As the 1349 as well as the 98, those 3 drivers involved in that incident.
Definitely some unfortunate damage there, but interesting call from Jackson Anderson there to take the tires. I mean, yeah, I mean, 19, really probably only 10 to 12 laps, so it's really going to be interesting to see if these drivers can, utilize the tires for Anderson, or will this be a detriment to him?
As we continue to have our cameras set on the 13, reason why we're having a little bit of technical issues on our back end that we're hoping will get fixed up by the time that we go green. But we apologize that we're only getting to look at this pretty Hello Kitty machine as we're trying to figure out what the glitches are at this moment. Drivers are getting ready for the choose, and oh boy, was that a late one, as Jared Talmadge making the late decision to go down low to the inside.
Definitely an interesting decision there by him to make it that close, but it is very, 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 very easy to make it close with how that apron is too with the transition. So that was wild there, and you can get close to getting that penalty and even that off track like you brought up, Sam.
Yeah, don't want to get too many off tracks. I know if you're able to keep your race clean, just 1 or 2 touching the grass moments aren't going to hurt you. But if you're caught up in more and more wrecks, you've been around kind of what we like to call a magnet around a race. You're just always in every wreck. Those incident points can collect and get you in trouble. But green flag is back out in the air. Jared Talmadge, Thomas Green, they are back at it. Who can get the better launch? And it goes to the 27. Thomas Green, though, able to find clearance. If he wants to drop down low, not going to be the case, as he's going to be trying to find a way to get an early apex, get underneath this 27. Ryan Kelly, Cody Reed, they're having their fun battling for 3rd place, as the 3 of Green will back off, trying to force a mistake on the 27. But it looks like for Jared Talmadge, good entry, good center. It's the exit where the 3 is hoping to find the advantage.
The pressure has been put on the back of that 27. He has not cracked so far. And look at this. Cody Reed rolling the outside of Ryan Kelly. He's looking to fight for 3rd. And even Thomas Green taking a look down the back straightaway. Will he dive to the inside? And the 27th Talmadge says, nope, you're not going to take it here. So let's see how hard these 2 race each other. They've raced each other hard in the past.
They've raced each other hard, but they're teammates, allies, associates with one another. They've raced around each other for a very long time. And sometimes when you've got a friend that you're able to race around, you can make what moves look to be daring, but you recognize the limits of one another, and it's rare to see major contact made by the 27 and 3 machine. Well, they're trying to find their footing to find an advantage. Is Thomas Green just not going to be the case, as he'll finally get in line. That battle for 3rd, though, Cody Reed really making that outside lane work. I am shocked on how well this 88 has continued to move forward.
Yeah, he has done a great job utilizing that top side too. I'm interested to see, does that have an effect on the tire? But I think with these little short runs like this, it's not really overheating and overworking them too hard. So he's doing a great job just really working that top groove in. And look, he'll finally clear for 3rd and completely take control of that position.
Control, and then drops right to the inside. So Cody Reed, the outside groove is not where he wants to have his fully domain kind of line up, but he's trying to find himself in position to start moving forward and maybe see that 3 and 27 make a mistake to allow Cody Reed to get in the mix for a chance for a win here tonight. Looking at other drivers that are making their way forward. I mean, Zach, we kind of noted on it right before that last caution. The 15 of Vincent Sora, he's into the top 10, and he's making his climb to make it into the top 5.
He is on the move for sure. He's battling Chris Stitch right now for that 6th position, and I think before you know it, he'll be in the top 5 here. He's just got to get next to Nolan Hicks and get around him, who will be in 5th. So that 15 on a mission for sure. Didn't want to have that mistake in qualifying, but he's making up for it for quickly getting himself right in the mix and near the safer end of the field too. You know, when you're farther back in that field, you can get caught up in some wrecks, and he was right around in the middle of some of those. So I think he's glad to be getting a little bit better track position the farther along this goes.
Continues to fight back and forth all throughout this race. It has been a fun one of everyone searching for that pace, but I think the one thing that a lot of drivers are happy to see, the cloud coverage, this track just getting a little bit darker, allowing a little bit more grip with the temperatures lowering. But as quickly as I say there's cloud coverage, it disappears in an instant. The sun's right back.
It is funny how sometimes that works. Just a little cloud, just moves in and just covers the track, and the next thing you know it, the sun's right back out. So yeah, it is very much awesome to see that dynamic weather system working in iRacing, and as always, had some type of effect on the racing here. As you can see, Joshua Stovall here working the bottom side, but you also got no steal there, trying to get him to work this bottom groove. And we saw last time before the caution came out, he was kind of stuck on that bottom groove, moving farther back, and seems like right now still trying to fight there with Jackson Anderson with those newer tires.
As they continue to go back and forth, Chris Stitz now with a chance to try to get under the 96 machine ahead of Stovall, behind them Anderson and Shelley. This is a weird spot for Stovall because he's got drivers that are battling between one another behind him and in front of him. And just in the blink of an eye, the one now going to be under threat as Anderson taking that advantage of the last corner pass now to get to the inside of the one, makes the pass made, and now Stovall wants to retaliate back to keep this position. That 08 fresh rubber is showing to be king here. Zach, just a 19-lap difference, and Anderson looking like one of the fastest drivers out on track currently.
About 2 to 3 tenths per lap usually if he doesn't get held up too bad. He's quicker than the drivers ahead, so tires really showing up here for him, and this is something you normally, again, don't see a lot in the other stock cars around these short tracks. It's normally not too big of an advantage to have that big of or that small of a tire delta, but you can just see here these Xfinity cars, they continuously almost fall off at such a big rate that you can have a little bit of a delta and still make a difference. So Anderson definitely utilizing the tires well, but we'll have to see if that comes back to bite him by using an extra set here early.
As we are seeing the racing action going on, we will have to go to a side-by-side commercial break for a moment. We see the buffering that's happening. We're going to see if it clears up. If it doesn't, we're sadly going to have to step aside for a little bit longer. But if it does clear up, we'll be back in just a few moments, as we will be back right after this.